Corey Kispert, a 6'6" shooting guard out of Gonzaga that might just end up being the best shooter in the 2021 NBA draft class. Now we got guys like Cade Cunningham, Jonathan Kuminga, Evan Mobley, Jalen Green, BJ Boston, and much more. Now what separates Corey from all of those names that I mentioned is that he's a bona fide 3-point shooter, and why this draft class is very competitive, which will be one of the main reasons why Corey might slip out of the lottery, which will make it much more interesting. But before we continue on, what's good YouTube? It's simply Nelly here, and if you're already watching the video, leave a like, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel. Your support is free and will be appreciated. But let's get on to the vid now. Again, with this draft class being highly competitive, and a below average athlete like Corey wouldn't be likely to be anything but a late lottery or even a late first round pick. But I get to be talking about his strengths, weaknesses, and what team fits him the most. Now with Corey being 6'6" and somewhere between 210 pounds, similar to a Joe Harris type build, and there isn't really much of an opposite between the two from how much they weigh, how tall they are, and even how they play. With Corey being an elite 3-point shooter and one of the most, if not the most consistent player in the draft, and being able to catch and shoot at a high level, scoring 43% from catch and shoot threes, and being able to space the floor along with going off screens and being able to play the pick and pop at a high level, shooting 50% from off-screen 3-point shots this season, and averaging 20.3 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, and 2.1 assists while shooting 57% from the field and 47% from 3. Now I know it sounds made up, but now you can see the Joe Harris comparisons, and some analysts even compare them to players like Klay Thompson and many other great shooters. Now being good at transition threes with even a hand in his face, almost wasting no time shooting the ball, and being a great decision maker, passing to the open man or even feeding big men down low. Last draft he could have easily declared, but scouts were unsure of him shooting from the NBA 3, where he didn't really take much threes outside of the college line and isn't really known for being a deep range shooter until this season. Sticking for a junior season, he began to shoot 4 more feet behind the line, being very efficient with it, and scouts brushed all of those rumors away of him not shooting far away enough for their liking. Now here is where it gets kind of rough on the defensive end. Now with his Joe Harris comparison that I'm sticking with, Joe Harris isn't really known for his defense, although he isn't a bad defender, which Corey is in the same boat. Now with people, scouts, analysts comparing him to Klay Thompson, which is clearly reaching on the defensive end, and how he lacks his lateral quickness on ball defense, and sometimes players from other teams deciding to take advantage of scoring off the dribble. But he is a contributor to team defense, and what I mean by that is he can space the floor on defense, cover up threes, and as a 3-point specialist himself, he would know a thing or two about how to guard that and knows his right matchups, knows his strengths, weaknesses on the defensive end, and even in pick and roll scenarios. In my opinion, when I watch his highlights, he's a pretty average defender, not too bad, not too good, and he doesn't really have any responsibilities in guarding ISO heavy players or even ball dominant guards. And on one of his most craziest games this season, scoring 32 points on 45% shooting while taking only 7 dribbles. Yes, only dribbling the ball 7 times against an elite defensive team in the Virginia Cavaliers. Now the reason why I mentioned that is I'm going to be talking about his biggest weaknesses in shot creating and ball handling. Now in the modern NBA, those are the 2 most valuable skills any guard could have, but with him being a perimeter shooter, and that only he doesn't really need to do those things, which is a disadvantage for him and his teammates on the floor, while he's just gonna be sitting there in the corner rotating, trying to get an open shot while not really being a play initiator, which sucks for a guard. But he can't create his own shot. With those God-gifted shooting abilities, he can still improve on it, but it's very much not needed, because a team that would draft him would know a thing or two about this, and it wouldn't really be any of his business doing those things. Although it is a must improving on it, I think he'll be just fine with coach playing in minutes, trying to light up from deep. And how many great shooters in the past have we seen has just had a big role on the team with just a job of shooting a 3? The first catch and shooter that comes to mind is Kyle Korver, one of the greats at 3-point shooting. We got guys like JJ Redick, Ray Allen, and the newer one, Duncan Robinson, which all 4 of those players that I mentioned had big roles on their teams, hitting big time shots and even streaking in some games. And now with him trying to light up from deep and giving his teammates more opportunities to rotate the ball around, and with him being not too much of a trigger happy guy, it won't be a problem for him rotating the ball to get a better shot and being a good decision maker. As for the ball handling situation, it's not that he can't entirely handle the ball, but he can dribble the ball as most athletes could, but in the in-game scenario, he's not really known known for being a ball dominant guard, and I don't really see him handling the ball at all as only viewed upon as a shooter, which does suck to a certain extent, but also something he can improve on. Now, what team should he get drafted to? Although chances are very unlikely for him to get drafted to the Hawks, being a below average defender, I would like to see him in their system, with the Hawks being a high lottery pick and basically a 3-point shooting team. They need a rim protector and another shooter, or even a two-way defender wing, but I feel like the Grizzlies are the perfect fit for him, with their primary ball handler and cornerstone in Ja Morant being able to pass the ball at a higher rate, and other players, mostly big men like Triple J, cut into the basket will make Ja's tendencies passing to shooters more than he already does. But I think they need to step up from that Dylan Brooks circle of shooters and draft a prospect like Corey. And now, man, I'm about to wrap this video up. What do you think about Corey Kispert, and what team should he get drafted to? Tell me in the comments down below, man. And yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next video. I'm out.